Hello YouTubers. Today I'm gonna show you how I'm changing oil in my Ford Transit, which is gonna be very similar to, if not all, most of the vehicles. A while back I made a video how I was using my conventional oil, because at that time I didn't know much about synthetic, and when I wasn't sure about something, better play safe. And especially at that time there was a rumor that since you try synthetic oil you cannot switch back to conventional oil, which is not true. So fact check, if you didn't know, you actually can switch back and forth if you'd like to, but personally I really don't see a reason why would somebody switch from synthetic oil back to conventional oil. So let me show you what I was using what was it, years ago. This was my choice, Mobile Super. The reason why, because it was, see, 5,000 miles protection. I don't know even if they even sell that stuff, but if you're gonna look at the back, they have this chart: premium, conventional, which is this, and then you have fully synthetic and advanced full synthetic. Well, at that time I actually even didn't see those in store. Like, I normally buy my oil in Walmart. I saw this one and I really didn't see the reason to do much changing, because if you see, 1 star, so almost the same, but price was a lot higher. Well, advanced full synthetic oil, that's a totally different story, and that's what I'm using now for many years. As a matter of fact, this Ford Transit, I bought the only vehicle, bought a brand spanking new one for my job. I am expediter and I'm doing 3,000 miles on average per week. So if you can see, 3,000 miles for me is not gonna work. Even 5,000 not gonna make that much of a difference, because that means that I would have to change my oil every week. Not very, I guess, interesting. So when I bought this van in 2016, they started making this oil. See, extended performance, 15,000 miles of guaranteed protection. And if you're gonna look at the back, they even don't show on this can the conventional oil, but that's this one. Now 15,000 miles, that's nice. That was like about a month pretty much I could drive without changing oil. The question is though, does it work? I can tell you that it was working for me. Why? Because right now my vehicle has 480,000 miles on it, and the truth is, this is already the second engine. I had to replace the first engine at the mark of 400,000 miles, 394 to be exact, and it had nothing to do with the oil. I had a blown gasket, and but the stuff, the moving parts that actually has anything to do with oil still was fine, because I actually checked my my van at the dealership. Occasionally go over there for checkups and service and blah blah blah, stuff like that. So the repair for the old engine was about the same if buying a almost new one. I got in salvage yard. I bought this one for $1,200 for $1,200, and the job to replace was another $1,000. So $2,000, and I got almost new engine. It had 26,000 miles on it. So for me it was working. So since 2016, all the time I was using this oil. But then Mobil 1 actually made this thing even better. Now they have pretty much the same oil, still extended performance, but now it's 20,000 miles guaranteed. So I love that part. So what about price? The price is actually for this extended performance 20,000 miles is $27 in Walmart. Filter for it, like this one, extended performance, also 20,000 miles, $10, or actually 9 something. So for $37 you have, for me, 20,000 miles. I use actually exactly the same oil on all of my cars. I have Ford Edge, I have Ford Transit, my daughter's driving, and obviously on average your home car doesn't make that much miles, so that's automatically annual protection. Actually at some point Mobil 1 had probably the same oil. They called it originally annual protection, and a small print was saying up to 20,000 miles, which normally on average you drive about 15,000 miles a year. So for $37 you have a full year protection up to 20,000, you'd say. So even this one, 20,000 miles, but it's still, now it's up to a year. So you cannot just drive for 5 years, let's say, if you're not driving a lot. You still have to change it every year. But $37 for the annual protection. And then when I was using, if you look my original video for the conventional oil, what I come up with the idea, I was buying the deluxe filter that was protected, was good for 10,000 miles as they advertised. So I was switching filter every other time, and I was buying this oil. So it cost me about $20 to do the oil change every 5,000 miles, which would be what, a few weeks for me with this, with my work vehicle, or a few months with my home vehicle, because I was driving like 15,000 miles, so that's 3 times. So still $60 versus $37. So it just, either way you look at it, it's cheaper, you spend less time changing oil. For those of you that never change oil by yourself, as a long time ago it was the same for me. I never had a car, then I bought it, and I was going to the shop and I was paying money, and the biggest reason was that I wasn't sure how to do it. Reality is, it's super easy. So the first thing is to find out what kind of oil you need. What you do for that, you just open your manual book, and on the first pages, on the contents, there's a page section called capacities and specifications. So for different type of engine, like my vehicle has 3.5, 3.7, diesel, blah blah blah. If you don't know what kind of engine you have, there's a sticker, there's always a sticker on the hood over here. Mine's, it's 3.7. Capacities and specification 3.7, page 274 in my manual. Engine lubrication with filter 5.5 quarts. If you don't know what it is, this is 5 quarts, so you're gonna have to have 5, and I mean full of this. And as I'm changing it very often, I actually buy a few of those, so I always have a partial in my garage. For you to save money, since you do it once a year, you can buy one big one, 5 quarts, and one single quart, if your car has 5.5, for example. On the next page over here, you can see there it shows what type of oil you use, which is in my case 520. Oil cap always will show what kind of oil your engine takes, right here, 520. Before you start changing oil, make sure that engine is warm. This will speed up the process quite a bit. There's a really good chance that you might spill some oil, even though you use this container, which you can buy in Walmart, I think around $10 or so, and it's gonna last you forever. So there is a chance for a spill. What I use, I have some old pieces of plywood from my home project, just in case, and a lot of times it helps. You can look at this piece of plywood already covered in oil, so it actually drips quite a bit, especially if it's a little bit windy day. On many new vehicles, this engine compartment area from the bottom is actually covered with some kind of a piece of plastic or some kind of other material to protect all of that stuff, to make it nice and clean. Normally, to take it off, it normally has like 4 to 6 screws on the perimeter. You just take them out, not a big deal. You take them out and then screw it back when you're done changing oil. If you never change oil by yourself and you don't know where the oil pan is located in your vehicle, it's always going to be the lowest part of the engine, right here. This is called oil pan. That's how it is, which is collect all of the oil is always going to be on the very bottom of the engine, and the lowest point over here, that's your screw that's holding it. Bottom of the engine, the screw is going to be at the lowest point. If you're driving Ford, most likely this is going to be 15 millimeter. I had Chrysler before, my wife was driving that, it was always 13 millimeter. So Ford, doesn't matter if it's a big truck or small Ford Focus, it's always 15 millimeter. If you're driving something else, you just have to pick a wrench. It depends where the draining hole in your car, but as you can see, my draining hole is on the passenger side, so I normally raise the driver's side up. It helps a little bit to drain the oil faster. To loosen up the bolt, as always as everything else, lefty loosey, righty tighty. So same way, you're gonna take a little bit to take it off. Loosen up. And just remember, the oil is not gonna go straight down. It's actually gonna shoot just like the hole, straight forward, so you have to adjust your pan accordingly. When you loosen up, really easy to take it down or to take it out. When the engine is warm, the oil's gonna come out fairly easy. Again, take maybe a minute to drain the old oil from the engine. You really don't have to wait until the last drop of oil will come out, because this probably never will happen. So when the last oil starts dripping, you can just replace the bolt. Wipe it up and tighten it up, this time to the right. Righty-tighty. Don't have to go crazy tight, but gotta make sure it's tight though. That's with the draining oil. Next is filter. So here's my draining bolt and oil pan, and in my vehicle, filter is right here. Move oil pan directly under the filter, and see how easy it is to take off. Loosen it up and then just wait a little bit until it drains. When most of the oil is gone and it's just dripping a little bit, Just slowly unscrew it. So here's the trick, here's the new filter. Here's the trick. See, the rubber gasket is always dry. So here's the trick to make this filter come out after a few weeks or a year in your case, most likely. You just put it in oil, in the old oil. Make sure that it's all wet, and then just screw it up until it stops, and then make half of the turn, no more. It can go farther than that, but then it's just gonna be so much harder to take it off. That's all you do. That's it. You stop at that point. Just wipe up whatever left over here, and that's how you're done with the hardest part of the oil change. Make sure your funnel is always clean. I have one designated just for oil. When you start or filling up with a full container, as I am, always put it ideally sideways. Well, not in my case, I guess. But very careful, because it might burp on you and overspill. Wait a few minutes until the oil drains to the bottom of the motor, and then check the oil level with the dipstick. Wipe it up first, because it's still gonna have some oil on it. Take it down. Right there. See, it should be between two holes over here on this rough surface. It cannot be below, it cannot be above. That's how you know. See, mine just below that upper hole. Just to be safe, see if there is any drippings under the car. When you're done changing oil, just put the used oil in the empty container, and you can take it in any auto parts store for free recycling, and that's how you change the oil.